The quality of your life is determined by many factors, circumstances, experiences. But what if there was something that was fully of your control that could impact the way you live your life? What if I were to tell you the quality of your life is actually shaped by the quality of the questions you ask yourself? Now, see, most people ask questions that keep them stuck. Why is this happening to me? When will things get easier? Why don't I have what they have? But what if the shift isn't just about working harder or chasing better opportunities? What if the shift is actually asking yourself better questions? See, the questions you ask yourself don't just determine your focus. They determine your identity, the direction you move, and ultimately what we all want, the life we want to live. Welcome back to the Emmanuel Dr. EG3 podcast. I'm Emmanuel George, but most people around here just call me Dr. EG3. And today we're going to talk about something that's deceptively simple, but what I believe is truly powerful. And it's the questions you ask yourself. Because the life you want doesn't just start with the perfect strategy or the right timing or the right circumstance. It all starts with the right questions. Now, if I'm honest, we go through these ups and downs, these busy seasons, slower seasons, quite often, multiple times throughout our lives. And I remember a time where not too far long ago that I felt like everything was happening for me all at once. I was working a full-time job, teaching, mentoring, had some leadership responsibilities at work. I was trying to write a book, building this entrepreneurial practice and journey. But at the same time, I was fully committed to being the man that I'm trying to be, being present for my family, there for the girls, supporting my wife, helping with schoolwork, helping with the business, just being there for everyday moments, cooking, cleaning, and all the other things. And the question that I asked myself almost every day was, how am I supposed to get all of this done? And that question left me feeling stretched thin. Like no matter what I did, something always felt as though it was left undone and probably wasn't. Then it hit me. Maybe the problem wasn't the number of responsibilities that I had. Maybe the problem was the question that I was asking myself. When I shifted from the question from being, how do I get it all done? And moved that question to being, what matters most right now? I can tell you everything changed. That question gave me clarity to prioritize. It helped me organize the priorities. Some days what mattered most was preparing for the class. Other days it was family time. And sometimes it was carving out space to pour into, the dreams that I had for myself in my life and what I want to have happen. But that question also helped me to recognize what are the things that I should be prioritizing and working on, and then gave me the creativity to figure out those other things that needed to get done. Is there a way that I can shift them to another day? Are there people that can help me with it? Or how about this? Is there a way for me to outsource those activities so that they're not on my mental plate or my physical plate? See, the responsibilities of those tasks didn't shrink. The weight of them did. Because I wasn't trying to do it all anymore. I was choosing to do what mattered most to me and what took the top priority. Now, I want to give you some frameworks that could help. The first thing I want to talk about is better questions create a better focus for you. Now, most people live in this tyranny of tasks that seem to always be tugging at you, right? You wake up and the first question is, how am I going to get all this done? That question fuels anxiety, scattered energy, creates a little bit of an angst. But when you ask what matters most right now, you move from this reactive state to being more intentional. Instead of juggling 10 things, you focus on the one or two things that deserve the best of you. Now, you may be wondering, why does it matter? Well, your brain filters reality on the questions you ask. And we could thank your reticular activating system for that. But the bad questions prime your brain for stress. So when you say, how am I going to get all this done? even saying the question causes your shoulders to shrivel up to your ears, right? But when you ask better questions, it actually primes your brain for solutions on how to get them done. So try the one question thing. In the morning, I want you to ask yourself one question, and I want you to ask yourself a closure question at the end of the night, right? So in the morning, I want you to ask yourself, what matters most today? And then in the evening, ask yourself this: did I give my best to what mattered most? And that reflection at the end will help gear you to answer the what matters most today question better tomorrow. It'll help with your priorities. It'll help with your focus. It'll help with your attention to those things throughout the day. The second thing I want to talk about is better questions expand your possibilities. See, fear-based questions shrink your world because, we have a tendency of catastrophizing things, right? What if I fail? What if I'm not ready? See, those questions keep you small, they keep you cautious, but also they keep you waiting for permission that's outside of you. Possibility questions expand your imagination. What becomes available if I try to do this thing? Who benefits if I succeed? Or how about this one? What's the upside that I haven't considered? Because, we love to get to the pro-con list, but why is it that we focus so much on the cons? Now, leaders and innovators, I can tell you, they don't succeed because they never fear stuff. They succeed because they ask bigger questions in the face of their fears that expands their attention, focuses their horizon, allows them to see beyond what they're feeling in the moment. So what I want you to do is I want you to flip the fear question into a future question. So if you have a question such as, what if I fail? I want you to recognize that you are asking yourself that, but can you flip it to a future question? So if you ask, what if I fail at this thing? I want you to catch yourself and then ask, what becomes possible if I succeed? As I think about your future, I know the thing that you're holding back on. I know there are people in the world that need you to do that thing. They're waiting on you. So this week, when fear shows up in your daily life, your weekly life, if you're doing transitions or doing something different, I want you to write down that fear question. And I think sometimes when we write it down or we write down the thoughts or how we're being critical of ourselves, I think seeing it gives us a whole nother perspective of, oh my goodness, I can't believe I'm thinking like that. But when that fear shows up, I want you to write down the questions or the statements that you're telling yourself. And then I want you to rewrite it as a possibility question. How can you shift it away from fear, but leans into future, idealism, possibility? The third thing I want to talk about is that I want you to recognize that better questions shapes your identity. Most of us live by to-do questions. What do I need to finish? What's next on the list? And see, these questions, they're necessary. So I don't want you yelling at me. Because again, your boy over here loves a good to-do list. Keeps me organized, keep me focused. But these are survival questions. They keep you busy. They keep you doing tasks, but rarely do they make you better. Now, I know you're thinking, when my kitchen is clean, I'm a better person. But identity questions take you deeper. That I think we should try to challenge ourselves quite often. We get caught up on the to-do list, but what never makes it to the do list a lot is, who am I becoming through doing these things? How do I want to be remembered in this season? What decision will my future self thank me for? And I'm pretty sure that future self is not going to be thanking you about the laundry. And just remember, guys, no judgment. I love laundry, but it doesn't change or impact the legacy that I have. See, your identity is shaped by repeated choices. And your choices are driven by the questions you ask. So if you only ask to-do questions, you drift away from the person you want to become because you're so focused on the tasks of the day. And I can tell you, busy life, high achiever that I know you are, you're trying to do all the things. But probably 50, 60, 70% of your to-do list is not shaping the identity that you want to have. See, if you ask identity questions, they shape you, but through intention. So before every major decision, that I would really encourage you to do is pause and ask, am I making this choice based on survival? Or am I doing it based on the identity that I want to become? In this week, just try it, practice it, right? Take one decision you're facing this week and run it through the identity filter. Does it get you any closer to the person that you want to become? Does it align with the identity? Does it align with the future? Does it align with that 2030 version of you that you are dreaming about, thinking about, manifesting? So those are the three. So the first one was better questions create better focus. Better questions expand possibility. And then better questions shape identity. And I know I was focused a lot on the better questions, I guess, because I wanted to be more positive, but let's go there. Bad questions. We can ask ourselves bad questions, but bad questions, they're not neutral. Bad questions have a cost associated with them. What I've found is bad questions, they drain your energy. Questions like, why does this always happen to me? Kind of positions you as a victim. When will things finally get easier? Kind of puts you in a position of passiveness and not trying to strive forward. But I can tell you, when you shift to better questions or empowering questions, don't have to give you all the answers. They point you in the right direction. They put you in motion. And that's what I want for you. Better questions put you in motion towards the identity, the life, the person, the things, the life you want. So challenge of the week. Gave you 3 basic filters that you can work through. But this week, I want you to catch and pay attention to the questions that you're asking yourself. I want you to write them down and review them. Look at them. Are they small? Are they limiting? Are they keeping me boxed in? Or are they expansive growth questions? But if you find yourself with more small and limiting questions, rewrite them. If you've been asking, why is this so hard? Shift to, what can I learn so that I can have more competence and confidence in what I'm approaching? See, that one pivot might just change the way you experience this entire week. So, if today's episode hit home, make sure somewhere on the page you click and subscribe so you don't miss out on anything. I would love for you to share this episode if it rang home or you found somebody that you think this can help. I would love for you to share it so that they can review the questions that are going on in their lives. And as always, if you want to work with me, you can reach out to me via my website, emmanuelgeorge.com. And remember, the life you want doesn't start with having all of the answers. It starts with asking the right questions. But one thing you never have to question, and I always want you to remember is, as always, guys, I love you much.